Alright, so for the Christensen Arms NPR hunting build, I picked up a Viper PST in the 3 to 15 range. It's going to be a little bit lighter weight than the 5 to 25. It's also going to be much lighter weight than the Razor Gen 2, which would be a great scope, but it's much, much heavier. And then I went with a set of their precision rings, medium height. Hopefully that's the correct size. I think with the 3.5 to 15, this is going to be MRAD version, so mil clicks and a mil reticle. Alright, so the 3 to 15 power should be a good balance for hunting. Gives you a little bit wider angle, also gives you enough to engage longer targets for practice. The Leupold Mark IV that I've been shooting in matches, including a PRS match, is a 4 to 14 power. And there's times I wouldn't mind a little more zoom, but overall it's doing the trick. So I think this will be good for hunting. I don't need more weight because that's part of the purpose of this build, is to stay a little lighter weight. So let's go ahead and take a look at the scope and at the scope rings. In the box here we've got lens cloth, we've got a set of just bikini style lens covers. Would have been nice to get the flip up style. In the bag you have an Allen wrench for removing the turrets when you're doing your adjustments and setting your zero stop. Also a battery for the illuminated reticle. Got a sunshade to attach to the end of the objective. And of course the scope. I had a chance to look through these a couple times at competitions, but this is the first PST product that I will own, so I'll have to see how it does. I don't own a lot of really high-end optics like the Razor HD2 and some of the higher end. I'll have to compare it to the Leupold Mark IV that I've been shooting, and then also the DMR from Bushnell that I put on the Ruger Precision rifle. So with the scope there, we've also got the set of rings, got a wrench for that, a little instruction card, tighten the base clamp screws to 45 to 50 inch-pounds, and then crisscross pattern on the actual rings at only 18 inch-pounds. I'm going to remove the tops off of these. When we install the scope base, we're going to start with the bases, get them installed, torque down, and then lightly install the caps, get the scope positioned where I want it to. Probably won't do that on camera just since I have limited lighting right now. Need to replace some of my lights. You may have noticed, if I've shown some of the video with the Christensen Arms with the DMR2 scope on it, that I actually, because of the eye relief and the way that scope was mounted, even though I mounted it as far forward on the Picatinny rail as I could have mounted the scope a little further in the rings. It's actually basically left in place from the Ruger Precision rifle. But I had to adjust the adjustable stock almost all the way out in order to get a proper eye relief. So I'm hoping I won't have to have the stock out quite as far, because that's a longer length of pull than I typically need. We'll go ahead and loosen these up. And I don't know if it typically matters for most people. I will have the locking screws on the left side of the rifle. They're pretty low profile. They shouldn't interfere with anything, but I like having them on the opposite side of the ejection, bolt handle, all of that. Again, these are low enough profile. Shouldn't make a difference, but that's just the way I prefer to do it. Alright, so we will start with the scope rings forward and kind of go from there, see what we like. I'm going to see if I have the right Torx bit for the... Yeah, looks like I do. So I will go ahead and use a Wheeler fat wrench for that. Okay, so we got the first one on. Go ahead and get this, not quite finger tight, just snugged up a little bit to the point where the bolts are almost snug. Just to kind of hold it in place while we're waiting. And then to leave some adjustment, we'll go about there. Okay, so they're still loose, still able to move around a little bit. So we do want to make sure when we tighten these down that we're pressing down and forward, because when the rifle recoils rearward, the scope will, in relation to the rifle, move forward. So we want those rings forward. That way they don't end up shifting under recoil. So I'm pushing down and forward. Get those snugged up. With them snugged up, we're going to adjust the wrench. And tighten them down. Okay. Get it adjusted about to where I think it'll need to be. And then we're going to place the caps, the tops of the rings. We're going to place the tops of the scope bases back on. I'm going to put the screws in a little ways, but I don't actually want it tight yet because I want to be able to move the scope to adjust it. Alright, so off camera, I went ahead and adjusted the scope to where I felt comfortable with it. I was able to move in the adjustable buttstock quite a bit compared to having the Bushnell DMR on there. Still able to get the scope relatively far forward, which doesn't necessarily matter depending on how you want to shoot it, but I think with the folding stock, having it a little farther forward, making sure it's past the pivot point and further forward will help with the balance when it is folded. I've gotten up the leveling tools from the Wheeler set. I got the action leveled, the scope leveled. I went ahead and snugged down the top parts of the scope rings, alternating back and forth and snugging them down slowly. The problem is if you just crank down on one side, you'll get the scope rings uneven, and then you also have the issue of torquing the scope, and it's kind of a pain if you get it right towards the end and it's torqued and you're no longer even, because then you got to loosen everything up and retighten. So now that everything is pretty close, I'm going to go ahead and torque it using a crisscross pattern similar to lug nuts in a car, and we're only doing this to 18 inch-pounds. Doesn't take a lot of torque. You're using the surface area of the scope rings and the scope versus a lot of pressure. So that's torqued down. Another thing I checked earlier, but I have heard of some people having an issue. Depends on the scope you're using, the rifle you're using, potentially the base, but you want to make sure that your bolt handle is going to clear the scope. I don't have any issue there. I could include a flip-up scope cap if I wanted to, and I still have room for that. In the front, I do have room underneath the scope, between the scope and the handguard. Again, enough for a flip-up cap if I want to put that on there, but it's pretty close. I did find that even though there is an adjustable cheek piece on here, I found that these scope rings are low enough. These are the medium, so a 0.97 inch ring, and I find that I don't need the adjustable cheek piece up at all. It's actually comfortable down where it's at for me. All right, so that is the Vortex PST II in 3 to 15 mil rad installed on the modern precision rifle. You'll be seeing more videos of this. I've got some more load workup to do and got to get it ready not only as a good hunting rifle, sighted in for longer range, test my drops, but then also to shoot the Vortex Extreme match in August of this year.